to strap on the copperheads.
Put them on. Watch your blood flow stop before your very eyes.
We figured out the trick to the copper line of products. They just basically cut off circulation to whatever body part.
It definitely makes it feel like something is happening, but I don't think increased strength and power are actual symptoms.
So welcome to podcast number 4. Today we are going to be talking some updates and a couple Halloween-inspired things that don't have anything to do with Halloween, actually.
They kind of do. It's personally my favorite time of the year. I don't know why. I like fall. I like colder weather. I like spooky shit.
Yeah, the change in the season is always pretty special.
Yeah.
Love that. Grew up in New England, and that change was always pretty awesome.
Yeah, Colorado used to have seasonal changes. I think that's all done now.
You ever do the whole apple picking thing?
No, they didn't have apple picking. Wasn't a huge
so
thing.
Much fun.
When I first moved to the East Coast, that was one of the first noticeable differences in culture that I was like, let's go apple picking. I'm like, so we're just gonna go to the store and pick out good apples? And we're like,
no, you're gonna climb those trees.
Yeah,
you're gonna get up there with your pail and get those apples. You know,
old Johnny Appleseed.
Those
with his
places,
pail.
Man, we used to jump in the car. We'd pile into the car. We drive out to this huge orchard. You spend the whole day. You jump on the back of a tractor. And they bring you out into the orchard. You spend the day picking apples, then you end up back
the farmstead
back
or whatever.
At the farm. Yeah, back at the farm where they're pressing fresh apple cider, and they've got apple cider donuts and everything.
I definitely took to those.
That was the best. That was just the best thing ever.
The quickest way to my heart is through a good donut. You may not know
the
that.
apple cider donuts are the way to go.
I came into it at a weird time because I think now, when you were a kid, that was probably more of a not rural, but more of a pure culture. Now it's seems very commercialized, and I don't know if it's always been that way. But when I go to these farms, it's they have a store, and it's it just seems all very all very set up and scripted.
You gotta make a run of it.
You gotta
make that money.
I've also worked on a farm before, and I was like, it was nothing like this.
I was like, I didn't know this.
I've just visited a farm.
You know what? I never worked on a farm.
I didn't work on the farm. Yeah, it just felt like I did. But I remember walking in cow shit.
What?
Yeah.
On that note,
I've been on a farm. I watched. I visited the farm with my uncle and I didn't actually have to do any work, but I had to be there. But yeah, he worked on a dairy farm and straight up milked cows, and it was just nothing about it was seemed as glamorous as the apple orchard experience. Those guys, it's just teenagers. They might as well be working at at a Gap. It seems really fun. I just remember my uncle just was always smelled like cow shit. It just seemed like there's always cow shit involved. It's a different kind of farm, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole I love that too. That's a great tradition, and and that along with pumpkin picking, there's a similar
pumpkin
thing
picking,
going there.
Carving, all that stuff. Coming up this week, Doctor Strange. That's going to be
a big one.
I think pretty awesome.
Probably
Lots of amazing reviews coming in for that.
It's probably the only big movie release coming out that I've cared about in a while.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see how they handle such a different kind of concept within the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
they're getting into magic, right? With this?
And there is a whole magic element in the Marvel universe. It's sort of like the Illuminati that hasn't been touched on in the films yet, but it's actually a very big part of the Marvel universe. So it's and that includes Ghost Rider. He's part of the. These are all spectral entities. That basically are arcane, I guess is the word you would use. The arcane part of Marvel. Yeah,
I am way into magic things. There are different. There's sort of fantasy-based stuff. There's sci-fi. These different sort of genres. But magic was always big for me. A recent series that came out, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, was pretty amazing. I'd highly recommend that. The book is great by Susanna Clarke, but it was a Netflix series. No, not a Netflix series. It is on Netflix, but
what's it called?
Great adaptation. It's called Jonathan Strange.
Really?
And Mr. Norrell.
His name's just Strange.
Yes, his name is Strange.
Is that how Harry Potter was the name of the character in the movie Troll back in the 80s, and he was a young budding wizard? The chosen one?
Yeah.
Check out Troll if you haven't seen Troll yet.
Let's see, episode 5 update.
Yeah.
We are cranking on this. It's going to be right up to the wire to make it for Thanksgiving, but we're in pretty good shape with it.
Yeah, we felt confident enough to put a date on it at this point, which we, if you know anything about us, we're usually very reluctant to do. We like to play fast and loose with deadlines, and normally because we're so busy with other things, but I think lately we've had more free time than we normally have, and we're able to just focus on this and crush it.
Yep, we are crushing lots. We're in the stage where we're doing a lot of the sound design, music placement, and we're about to do a whole string of finalizing on some of the character parts. It's really funny.
At this point, Craven and I both, I think, agree that we usually gauge how well we think something's going to do based on how much it makes us laugh when we watch it. And I feel with episode 5, it may be some of the best stuff we've ever written together. I don't know if that's going to be disappointing if it's not, but I don't care. It's like it's been entertaining to us, the process.
We are definitely hyping this one. We've done more like hype for this than any other previous thing ever. I mean, we've got the teasers online.
Yeah, the teaser actually has something to do with the episode as opposed to previous teasers. It was a completely unrelated piece of media.
Yeah.
A creepy old rap about puberty, which I still love, but yeah, it was just sort of a tertiary piece of...
Yeah.
Which loosely became part of the canon. Him being into runes was was originally a lyric in that rap that we worked into episode 3. But it was just like a throwaway, like, I'm into runes now, by the way, as referenced in this song. But yeah, this time, all the teasers are legit insights into what to expect. So
yeah, we are totally stoked for this one.
we actually tried to do something similar to the rap, and that's why we came up with that trailer that you may or may not have seen. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's the most recent video on our channel. It's called Starstorm, The Destruction of Father. Which, if you are a fan of schlocky 80s movies, it's referencing the movie Metal Storm, The Destruction of Jared Sin.
We found a voiceover guy that nailed it. We really searched hard for the right person to get that sound, and so we were lucky to find the right guy.
It's a specific sound, because we've worked with John Bailey before, but he's like a legit current movie voiceover trailer guy. Like I think not only is he's the honest movie trailer guy, but I think he's actually become the real movie trailer guy at this point.
Right.
And it would have been easy to work with him, but it's just there's a quality to those grindhousey, 70s and 80s voiceover artists that's just different than what we do today. They always sound like they're smoking a cigarette as they're doing the reads.
And they probably were, to be honest.
Definitely were.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're really happy with that. That trailer was a lot of fun. And I can't wait for you to see how that scene plays out.
Yeah, Zach brought up a great question from a Redditor.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, there's a fan-made Auralnauts Reddit page, Auralnauts. I encourage you to check it out. There's not a lot of traffic on there right now, but it does get some love. And a user, Brian Solo, hit us with a really great question. Which basically, to sum it up, he basically asked us, first he complimented us by saying that he thinks that our writing and our comedy and our confidence has grown over the course of these episodes from Jedi Party. And he was wondering, based on that, on our current, ability and our current aesthetic, if we could go back and change episode 1, what would we change?
Right. And Brian, first and foremost, thanks for your very kind words. And we thought it was a great question. So we thought we'd take a couple minutes to answer it on this podcast. It's a tough question in a lot of ways.
You know what? I think, and at least to put it in Star Wars terms, I think the best example you can look at who's somebody who did that is George Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas did go back and retroactively adjust things, oftentimes things that made no sense, like adding a scream to Luke as he fell.
Yeah.
We're really happy with the way that the episodes have developed, and in a way, they have to start somewhere. It is growing and changing as it goes. We didn't plan everything out from the beginning. We planned quite a lot out from the beginning, but there are a lot of storylines and story arcs. For example, we didn't know that the Death Star would be a laser tag facility. We just had no idea when going into episode 1. with each one, they've developed more over time, and we've had a little bit of heavy lifting to do to keep the story rolling in a way that made sense and is logical. You're going to see in episode 5 that it's all completely logical. It's insane, but there is a continuous storyline. But we wouldn't. I think going back, I can't think of anything that I really would want to change. I mean, I suppose you could take a couple characters and sort of knowing what we know now.
Maybe a little bit more with Anakin, I guess, but that kid would have been tough to work with. Jake Lloyd.
Yeah, there could have been some of that. Maybe we would have done some.
Rest in peace.
We would have done some gags.
He's still alive, right?
Yeah, sure. He is. We might have done some gags with like the pod racing thing or something. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, pod racing would have been a decent media to play around with. We developed the whole dance fight thing though, and that was like, I don't know how that would have related to the pod race.
Yeah.
That's a lot of those jokes are a lot of the jokes we have today are there because of what episode 1 was. You know, like, however, rough around the edges it may be.
Right.
That was also coming off of Bane Outtakes, which was like our second video we ever uploaded to our channel, and so we're almost approaching it from that style of just irreverent, unrelated gags. That were. Bane Outtakes was loosely tied together by the fact that his character was like that of a fitness guy, and dietitian. And so that's the only thing that was the only common thread throughout the whole thing. And so for us, the Jedi Party was like the only common thread was that the Jedi were just out for a good time, no matter at any cost. And that weirdly, Darth Maul was some closeted, repressed party guy that had
he was Lord of the Dance.
He was Lord of the Dance, yeah. I guess that theme might come around again too. The idea of this like corporate guy who's secretly, yearns to become Lord of the Dance. He wanted to quadruple his flip power, and it didn't work out.
It did not work out. So yeah, I would say that I wouldn't want to maybe adjust something or go, looking back. I'm really happy with the way it's developed, and it is a little odd, I guess, that it starts with really short episodes that get longer as they go. But episode 5 is not longer than episode 4.
Yeah.
So we're going backwards. It's going to land somewhere around 30 minutes.
And there's a weird mix of wants and needs from the audience too. A lot of people are like, they hope that they keep getting longer, and other people are like, damn, dude, 45 minutes? Like, what are you asking from us? Like, nothing. Just sit back and enjoy something.
Yeah.
Like, what do you like? You're looking at media. There's media out there that's an hour long. It's not just because it's on YouTube. It's not unusual for a piece of entertainment to be an hour long. Like every Netflix show you binge watch is an hour long. It's I don't know. I just wish people maybe if I could go back and change one thing, I wish people. Maybe, I don't know if they appreciate it or not. I was really proud of the roasting jokes we come up with for Watto. And it didn't seem to get a lot of attention. God. Like, for better or for worse, nobody really seems to like...
I remember thinking, did we go too far with Watto?
But nobody was like, guys, come on, gross. They were just like, nothing. There was just nothing. Every once in a while you'd see a comment where people would be like, damn, Watto, though. And it's like, cool, but... neither one of us are really good at writing jokes like that. We were really proud about those were jokes. Those were roasts.
Yeah.
And Qui-Gon was just getting roasted, and he did nothing
that
about
sort
it.
Of classic Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, he's like, you know what I mean? Hey, it's just a gross.
We weren't trying to be gross with him. We were just trying to make him that jokey guy.
Yeah.
Who does things like that, who goes there.
And all Qui-Gon could do is just kind of smile and shake his head like this.
He just takes all that abuse and then walks out. There isn't even really a scene there. He just walks in, gets abused, and then walks away.
He's taking more abuse than a Hut tampon.
Gross.
I totally blew his accent too. I couldn't it's hard to tell what his accent's supposed to be in the movie too. That was part of the criticism of that franchise. Like, is he supposed to be like a Jewy guy? Like, what's going on there? And so mine was kind of a mix of like Rodney Dangerfield meets like Cheech Marin. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was going for there. It was pretty inconsistent, but I like Watto. I like that character. It just seems like he didn't get a lot of hate or love. It was kind of. I almost wish people really hated him. At least that's something,
Yeah, coming back to this Lucas repurposing or readjusting his own films, we're strong believers in the philosophy that sometimes a lack of context gives something a little bit more edge or fun, leaves things to your imagination. If you hear a good sample in a piece of music, something weird or fun or really left field, you may not want to know what the source is because it leaves you with this kind of whimsical idea about what that thing is. And I think sometimes when you have that freedom to just imagine something, it's truly magical. Someone that really blew it recently was the new Alice in Wonderland film. It did the weirdest thing ever. They created this conceit in the film of a character who was time itself. So this character is time, right? And Alice.
Is his name Kronos?
His name, yeah, no. There's a device called the Kronos.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's not the Chronosphere, Chrono Cube.
Right. That's our
It's like
thing.
the Chronosphere or something, and Alice is tasked with going back in time to solve some of the problems that are happening in Wonderland at that moment. So she goes back in time, and they systematically, throughout the film, explain away all of the things that make Wonderland what it is. There's a story about how the Queen's head got bigger. There's
really?
Yeah, they explain why the Mad Hatter is in fact mad. It's really terrible.
So they went through and they took the wonder out of Wonderland.
Yes, they systematically remove everything that makes Wonderland cool.
Alice's Adventures in Explained Land.
Yeah, they just completely. It was like baffling to watch this. Like remove all the fun, bit by bit. It's in a structured way. It was almost.
Well, that was part of the whole magic of that original world, was that there was no explanation for these things because this world was not like ours. It didn't the rules didn't apply to it. And you couldn't, it's not for a human to explain, to understand what made these things what they were.
Yeah, there's whimsy in it.
Yeah. But to find out that the Mad Hatter just has, he's got problems just like I do. What did he, lose his family?
His family was killed.
Spoiler alert.
And that's sort of how he loses, that's kind of how he lost his mind. It's so bad. It's so bad.
So instead of just being this, loony cartoon character, he's he's just this guy with severe emotional issues.
Yeah.
Stemming from loss.
Right.
Oh
it's
my
so
God.
sad. But anyway, so we're big fans of leaving some things, leaving some of the context a little open or left to your imagination. And in a sense, I kind of like that we didn't overdo episode 1 because it left us with a lot of potential avenues to pursue the story, which was kind of lucky break.
Yeah.
Because
we didn't. Yeah.
We didn't box ourselves in at the top there, which was kind of lucky.
What
By
else?
the way, the best Alice in Wonderland adaptation, in my personal opinion, is Jan Svankmeyer's Alice. It's a mixture of live action and stop action animation, and it's just totally rad.
I feel like it's the best. Yeah, I am also. That is also my personal favorite version of Alice, and it's just called Alice, and it's equal parts wondrous and horrifying, which I think is what that story is supposed to be. It's almost like a bad dream. That's a lot of parts where paths that lead to inexplicable avenues, and just and some of the puppet work is just the White Rabbit. And this is not a spoiler. This happens right away. This is the White Rabbit in her world is actually a taxidermy rabbit that she has in her bedroom that comes to life and rips the nails out of his hands and stuffs sawdust back into his guts and just puts a hat on and is I got to get out of here.
Yeah, it's amazing. He keeps ripping open and spilling sawdust out, and so he carries a spoon around with him and he eats the sawdust. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
That actually reminds me of this is a little tangent. You ever seen Bad Taste? Peter Jackson's film.
I've only seen parts of it. I think I need to probably sit down and watch it.
You need to watch it again. He's done it. Everybody knows about Dead Alive now, which is his zombie movie, his gross out zombie movie. But Bad Taste was even more of a gross out project, and he actually is in it. His character at one point falls and splits his head open, and his brains keep falling out throughout the movie. He's just trying to shove them back in, and he puts a top hat on to squeeze his skull shut, and he's slowly losing his mind. It's he's not dying, it's making him crazier.
Yeah.
And at some point, there's so many brains on the ground from all the combat, he just starts shoving extra brains into his head. You gotta watch this movie.
Gross.
It is real gross.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's
that is wow. That may segue us into freaky experiences.
yeah.
Maybe.
Also, but yeah, before we go, check out Jan Svankmeyer's. And phonetically, it looks like John Schvankmeyer, I guess.
Yeah.
It's. But if you want to, he also all of his films are great. He did Faust, which was hilarious.
Yeah, he's an incredible filmmaker. But that's our big recommendation is
Alice.
Go watch Alice.
Yeah.
Find it somewhere and buy it.
So yeah, let's talk about some spooky experiences in the spirit of our favorite time of year.
Yeah.
Auralnauts spooky experiences. Let's put some effects on that shit.
Will do.
That's how we do.
So let's see. My thing. Let me start here with. For some reason, I've got a thing with things that glow, and it might run in my family. So, going back when my father was a child, he tells this story that I love. He was out camping with his friends, and they cut up all this wood into small, chips, and they were just feeding it to a fire all night and hanging out in this forest and camping out. And in the middle of the night, he woke up and got out of the tent, and he claims that all of these wood chips were glowing.
The chips that had been in a fire.
No, the chips, the rest of the chips that had not been burnt.
I was gonna say, because
they
that's
were
usually
glowing
the
like
result
blue, like
of...
blue. No, not like embers.
Right.
They were glowing like something would glow in the dark, like blue, blue glowing. And so he freaked out, and he took all these wood chips and stuffed them in this backpack, brought them home, and of course they didn't
eat them up with a spoon.
They didn't. Did not eat them with a spoon.
Okay.
They never glowed again, and he theorizes that maybe it had something to do with moisture, maybe some part of the moonlight or something. Maybe there's
fungus or something.
Yeah,
on there.
something was and of course phosphor. Things do have bioluminescence. So, but I've always had a thing with things that glow. One time in the middle of this outrageous thunderstorm, I was standing on a beach, and I saw this orb, this light orb out on the water. And I thought maybe it could have been a bird or something, but it looked weird to me. And then it just rose straight up off the water and into the sky, and I was like blown away by that. I have no idea what that might have been. And my last glowing thing is that I heard recently on a podcast a girl talking about this experience that she had had where in the right conditions, if you stand in front of a mirror, maybe after you take a shower and the mirror is fogged up, it looks like your eyes are glowing like headlights.
Right.
And I thought that was funny, and I tried a couple of experiments to create this effect, because I thought maybe it had to do with the type of light or how much moisture, how much fog, and I couldn't ever do it.
How much Candyman plays a part in your life.
Right. How much you're being actually stalked by some kind of supernatural demon.
Scream for me.
And then finally, it happened to me a couple weeks ago when I was back in Boston, staying at a hotel. I got out of the shower, and sure enough, glowing eyes, and I was like, "Holy shit! It happens." Holy shit! It's real. It's real. So I took notes about the conditions in which it happened. But here's the weird thing: the effect didn't come out on camera. I tried to take a picture of it, and it didn't come out.
Huh.
Yeah, so I couldn't record it. And also, when you close your eye, like if I would close one of my eyes, that eye would stop glowing. So it must have something to do with the light actually
reflecting
hitting
back.
Your eye, like the way that your eye is
I wonder if it's like a double bounce
light.
back. It's like light hitting your eye, hitting the mirror, hitting your eye again, and then also activating whatever tumor is in the heads of your family that causes you to see glowing shit all the time.
Yep. There it is.
I'm just kidding. Tumors are no laughing matter.
That's no laughing matter.
Except the movie Phenomenon.
Those are my glowing. Those are my family glow stories.
My scary stories are not really. It's fear that we induce ourselves. My girlfriend and I tend to find and check out like abandoned places. It's just really interesting part of history. Our country's not that old, and like you go to some of these places, and they seem like they've been there for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Even though some of them have only been abandoned for like 15 years. It's just super fascinating for us. And I also like creepy shit, so it's like this urban exploration thing we do is just a big part of like our time we spend together. We find somewhere we've never been or somewhere that somebody else has documented. And
I've got to join you. We've got to join you on some of these.
We got to make a road trip. We're always trying to find it. This is a great time of year for it too. We recently we since we first started dating, we try to do a road trip around this time of year down south, because there's New River Gorge through West Virginia just has like hundreds of ghost towns, because there's used to be where all the coal mining happened, and then once coal was phased out, these places were just instantly abandoned. Some of them are just down to their foundations. Some of them just aren't there anymore. Some of them still have like giant manufacturing plants that are still there, that are just over 100 years old. So yeah, we went and checked that out, and it's just, we found, I think one of the weirdest ones we found is when we find entire properties that are just covered in giant abandoned buildings that nobody's doing anything with. And I'm like, why? How can we afford to just let this land go to just rot and like nothing? Because the grounds themselves are beautiful. And in this particular place, they like manicured it. There's clearly like a grounds crew there in the weekend. And it's like no trespassing at all. It was like, you are not supposed to be in here, but there's somebody in there with a ride mower just hooking the place up for, I guess they figure if someone's going to break in here, it might as well look nice. Huh. But, yeah, there's just like giant. It was I think it was a military boys' school that we went to, and it was just mansions, just still standing, just like. But yeah, it's like, I guess the spooky element comes in when you're just like, it's pretty funny. It's like how quickly something can become dangerous. Because in my world, it's never been. I grew up on horror movies, and I love ghosts, monsters. Was never afraid of them in real life. The fears that like you go into these places are not like, you see like a lot of videos like amateur ghost hunters like, we're gonna go into this abandoned mental asylum because there's a lot of negative energy here.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, you know where that negative energy comes from? Centipedes and homeless crackheads. Like that's real dangers that are potentially there.
Right. Like
all around you, and it's not ghosts. Like, relax with the ghosts. Like, open your eyes. You might get tetanus. That's so you put yourself in a real bad position, and it's exhilarating in a weird thrill seeker kind of way.
Yeah,
but it's fun and it's interesting.
That's awesome.
You learn the history about these places as you check them out.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll learn about them after we go there. We'll leave and we're like, so apparently they just found a dead body here like 2 months ago. We're like, oh, hey, we were just hanging out there, walking around taking pictures.
Yeah. Speaking of pictures, you guys have gotten some pretty awesome ones.
Yeah, my girlfriend actually has a site called Minsky's Abandoned. She sort of catalogs all the places we've been to and writes up their backstory and their history and everything. It's really interesting.
Yeah, check that out.
If some of you follow my Instagram, I posted a lot of them from our most recent trip. Which we also hit some pumpkin picking farms on the way too. West Virginia's got a lot of good farms off the highway. Check those out. We picked up some good homemade beef jerky and
nice.
The donuts were cleaned out, man. We got there too late. There was like a line to get into this place, and it was just, I don't know. So that's if you have like a spooky area, I encourage you to go check it out. There's always like rich history behind it, like how it ended up that way. Watch out for you know what the biggest danger is teenagers. Teenagers and cops just make me nervous. Like you can tell when I'm in that in between age where I don't like. I think as you get to reach a certain age, you like love and trust the cops because you like. You own stuff and you want to protect your life. But then there's also like you reach a certain age where just like all teenagers are hooligans all of a sudden. It's like we ran into some at this one place we were at, and we were like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" They're really friendly. I'm not a dick. I just know that statistically they're probably up to no good. But and if you look at any of these places, you know that they got seriously jacked up by some bored teenagers. I would probably do the same thing if I was a teenager. I'm like, cool, a place where I can just go smash stuff and act out without anybody. It's a victimless crime, So we were at this place, and there's a couple of teenagers there, and we're like, hey, what are you guys doing here? He's like, just here to cause some trouble. I'm like, awesome, let's get out of here. Like, I don't want any part of this. Like they're gonna cops are gonna show me like, so what are you creepy old ass people doing with these kids?
Yeah, right.
Like, that's not. This looks shady. But yeah, that's it.
We have thought for a long time of doing a video. So we're big fans of horror and games, and some of you may have caught our PT walkthrough experience. That was kind of fun. Currently
doesn't exist because our website got hacked and that video is down. But we can try and put that up for you. We did a cool hour-long playthrough of the Silent Hill, now defunct Silent Hill demo called PT.
We've been talking for a long time about possibly doing our own app that is sort of a haunted house / puzzler that has a lot of really cool ambient sound and a good story which something that would be a little bit off the map for us, not comedy driven, but something that's just kind of fun.
I think it would still, the way we talk about it, it would still combine like the stuff that we do well together, which is like a mix of sound design, music, and writing. It wouldn't be comedy, but it would be the same. Like it would be an Auralnauts project.
Yeah, that's something that we may actually be pursuing in the next maybe year or so.
Yeah,
we'll see.
If any of you are handy with game development, because we are not. But we are handy with everything else.
Yep. That is a stumbling block for us.
Yeah.
But we can, we're kind of searching now for a possible developer partner. So, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. And there's, in the meantime, this is a good time of year to get in the spirit. Go check out some movies. I don't know, some of my favorites. The Thing is always a go-to.
Yes.
Any time of year, really. But that's... And that movie, I think what makes it great, there's some obviously like dated qualities about it, but overall, I think because of the location and the subject matter, that movie does not age. You can watch it anytime. It always feels like it was made recently. Mm-hmm. And it's, sure, there's a guy roller skating around, serving, doing his chores on roller skates. But other than a few very painfully 80s things, also at the doctor's computer simulation when he was like, how soon before this thing takes over Earth, and it's like a Atari.
But what's my favorite ghost movie? I gotta rank Poltergeist up there as one of my all-time favorites. It's got such an awesome score by the late and great Jerry Goldsmith. But that film, that's another film that to me hasn't aged at all.
Poltergeist.
It just is the bomb. I thought the remake was pretty shitty.
I mean, was there any? Did it have a chance? There's just some things that people do today that they can't do anymore. They like Tobe Hooper. Like they don't make anyone like him anymore.
Yeah, he really nailed it, and I love the whole idea that it was like ghost directed by Spielberg. I sort of love that story.
Yeah,
but whatever it was, they definitely had the right chemistry across the board to make a great ghost film.
And and it's just a good mix of it was like a family movie, but it was horrifying. Like there was something like the clown is like, I watched that today and I'm like, this is pretty crazy that this was a family movie. But you had like this quality about it. It was very 80s suburban nightmare. It's like what can scare a family in like this era where everybody's kind of like, you can, that American dream lifestyle.
Yeah.
Craig T. Nelson is the best. He's a great dad. But it's that's a difference too. That's like these are movies I grew up on, and I feel like a lot of people in my age group grew up on these movies, and that's a thing that's. I'm getting into my salty old guy rants again, but
don't do it.
A friend of mine recently posted something on Facebook, and he was like, "Hey, is the new Ghostbusters appropriate for my 5-year-old?" And somebody in the comments was like, "Yeah, it's made for kids." And I was like, and then there was a lot of other people commenting that were clearly parents that were like, "No, my kid was terrified." And I was just like, "What happened?" Like, I watched Aliens when I was 5 years old, or Alien, the first Alien, and I think I'm fine. Like,
I saw some movies that were definitely inappropriate at a very young age.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about those, but
maybe we should, just so we don't use our imaginations.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Snuff films were a big thing in my house when I was a kid.
Nothing like that, but definitely some movies that were not for children.
Yeah.
Mainstream films, but like not good.
Well, like the film, like let's we can kind of go down a quick list, like the films of our era that kind of define, like Terminator.
Well, something like The Shining is not a film that you should see when you're like 9 years old.
That actually,
that's just not. It's just not the film to see when you're a kid.
Or when I saw it, which I was 5. I saw a lot of those movies when I was 5. The Shining was actually one of the things that, like I said, like scary stuff that was intentionally supposed to be scary never really got me. But that one thing that did get to me was the old woman in Room 2. Was it? There's like the documentary is named after that room. It's like 237. I can't remember the name of the room.
That scene is really terrible.
Yeah, and that's the sort of thing I kind of like in the back of my mind when I'm exploring those abandoned places. I'm like, when am I going to run into the old lady, the old moldy lady in the bathtub trying to get with me?
Yeah, my final recommendation in terms of horror is a film called Repulsion that I've recommended to you a bunch of times.
Yeah, and I have to get on that.
That is probably my all-time favorite psychological.
Was Lawrence Fishburne
horror.
in that one?
No.
That's an older movie though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's older, 1965. directed by Roman Polanski, who we don't need to talk about him. But
Well, that's apparently
the
that was
film-
made before it was
Before,
it
yeah.
was still okay to like a Roman Polanski movie.
Right. It's really, really, really horrifying. God, just thinking about it now is freaking me out. So let's not talk about that
Check
anymore.
that out. Okay, so Repulsion.
You've never seen it.
I've
I
never
can't.
seen
even-
it.
You're, I mean, you need to
know
see
why.
it as a fan of horror.
Yeah.
That should be top on your list.
Maybe, I mean, what type of horror is it? Because I'm not a
It's
ghost.
psychological horror.
Okay, yeah, because I was more of
And
like a
it's
directly like monsters.
Super
And,
dark and
Damn.
super disturbing.
I gotta check that out.
I won't tell you anything about it. Just
Yeah.
see it.
I don't know if I can then. It's like now that I'm like living with current Roman, I'm like looking at his past work and be like, man, fuck that guy.
No, this is good.
It's good?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
I'll
good.
check it out. My last recommendation, if you have to see one, go check out. And I think you have to actually rent it, but it's called From Beyond.
From Beyond.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous movie. It's great. It's from
From Beyond. That's
it's from the guy who did Reanimator, Stuart Gordon. It's almost the whole same team. Like the lead actor Jeffrey Combs is the lead in that, and it's a Lovecraftian type movie where a scientist sort of taps into vibrating his brain in the right way, his pineal gland, so that he can see another dimension that's there, but we just can't see it.
Ah, nice.
And once you can see it, they can see you, and gooey weird stuff starts to happen.
Oh.
So check out the trailer if you can find one for From Beyond and get into
Gross.
that. That's an underrated, very little seen, I think, horror movie amongst the general public.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up on that. Thanks for listening
Yeah.
to our podcast number 4.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for always more updates and more stuff. We got more projects in the pipeline that we're going to be bringing to YouTube. We may actually post this on YouTube. We don't know. We shall see.
Yeah.
I'm going to be releasing a lot of good new music from some music from an upcoming game. We got a couple of doozies, singles tracks from episode 5.
We also were going to try to get Copper out there from the full body Copper system video.
Yes, well, let's put that up this week.
Yeah, let's do that. And and if you get a chance, check out some of our support links. You can. There's actually a sale going on right now on Spreadshirt. Sale times for the holiday spirit.
Yeah.
20% off. Spreadshirt. We got a couple new designs in the shirt shop.
20%.
Yeah, if you type in the code SAVE20 now, all caps, you get 20% off on Spreadshirt.
We have a fresh new design.
Yeah, courtesy of our new friend, our new BFF, Martin from Drastic Graphics.
Yeah, he really nailed it. He came up. We tasked him with hitting our Astro guy with a sort of refresh, and he really nailed it.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. He's great to work with. If you have any design work need done, I would check him out. But you should. I think he's filling up fast. He's getting pretty popular pretty fast. He does a lot of stuff for some high profile clients too. He's got like Joe Rogan and Fighter and the Kid, if you're familiar with those guys.
Yeah, boy.
But yeah, check that out. We got mugs. We had a big
We got
request.
mugs now.
We actually got abused by some fans. You guys are great, by the way, but you guys were unrelenting about getting mugs in the shop. So we got mugs. You better buy some goddamn mugs now. We threw some couple other things, some fun things in there too. Some buttons, like pins with the new astronaut on it. I've got a Creepio Flesh T-shirt in the style of Obama Hope.
we gotta hit that guy too. We gotta get that mug from that one guy.
Oh yeah, we linked it out on our Twitter one time. This fan of ours made a video of him basically. He wanted a mug
amazing.
so bad from us that he made a video mocking us for not having a mug.
Oh, that video is hilarious.
You gotta check it out. He makes his own mug. So the video starts out with him trying to. He's like, "Do you?"
Don't
Okay,
do the
all
bitch.
right. It's
Just
we'll link it if we put this up on YouTube. We'll link it in the description. Check out his video. It's just shitting on us mercilessly for not having a mug in our shop. I never thought we would get just
so
brutalized
good.
for such a small thing.
It's so
as
funny.
not selling you
that
a mug.
killed me when I first saw that. I couldn't stop laughing.
His mug design. We were trying to get his mug design, but I actually reached out to him about it. And he says, "I wish I could." His roommate washed the mug and completely destroyed his work of art.
That's so lame. We should try to recreate it. The artwork.
He
on
said
it
he would
was
try to recreate it. I got to
ridiculous.
reach out to him again and just say like, "Do that, please." Those guys are all Australian. That Australian crew is amazing. That's where
Yeah.
that piece of artwork I got is his friend.
Oh, really?
Slider Rails on Instagram.
Slider Rails.
Yeah, Slider
that guy's
Rails.
work is phenomenal.
Yeah, my girlfriend reached out to him because I was just like showing her. I was basically like sitting her down. I was like, let's look at all of his uploads because I love his artwork so much. And then she reached out to him and actually got something for me from him. So that was that whole Australian crew. They're hilarious. They're very passionate about their opinions. And we love you guys. We love all of you guys. Yay!
Yay! We love you.
All right.
Well,
That's
cool.
all I got.
Thanks again for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you soon.
We'll see you.
We'll see you soon.
Through the monitors, we can see you. And that's
Peace
it.
out.
Sleep well. Bye.
Bye.